Okay, so this morning again I had some very interesting experience. Okay, so I wanted to go to the restroom, and from the bedroom to restroom, I had a lot of experience. So one thing, instead of explaining the whole uh, scenario, what if, as we are speaking right now, we were to get into the womb? Then what happens? As we are speaking right now, and then we are in the womb, then what happens? How that situation will be?
There is no memory there. Nothing was. Only I think comfort is there to mind.
No, there is no comfort also. That's what I saw.
Is it?
Yeah. See, first and foremost, the people whom we are spending time with, be it colleagues, family, or whatever we have, they themselves are unreal as far as the memory goes, as far as their experience goes, as far as anything goes. Because we just that entry into the womb, let us keep it sided for time being. Let us say, as we speak, 10 months goes by or 9.5 months goes by, and then this person is in suspension for 9.5 months. Okay, and then he comes out, and to his shock, he's seeing somebody, or she is seeing somebody who have no relevance to his life. How that would be? This would have happened to the child for sure, but it is not able to express, do anything at all. It's helpless. So the child in question is just the body what we are looking at, but then the experience of the mind is the same. So now, from whatever it considered as its family, is replaced by something else for which it doesn't even know what it is. Now, what would be the state of that mind? What do you think the state would be? Happiness, sorrow, confusion, chaos, concern, worry? What do you think that would be?
Miserable.
Yeah, it is miserable. Indeed, completely miserable. And on top of that, it is helplessness.
Yes, his body is not allowing it to do what it wants to do.
Hmm. And there are people who are surrounded whom it doesn't know. It has been removed of the comfort of the family which it had. So now it has to undergo the torture of something else. Now you see another fun. Somebody can kidnap that young child, or some mishap can happen. It might get, like, as soon as the child is born, it gets into jaundice. So 3 4 days it has to stay away from its mother. Then various other ailments can torture the child, and then the mother might not be able to give that child the milk because she is not getting it, or something else might happen, or it might be getting. But then what happens to the earlier family it had? So this is what I got as a vision this morning. The complete cycle from the time the body leaves, sorry, the person leaves the body, to the time the person enters the womb, to the time he stay in the womb and coming out of the womb. The pain and the agony what a person faces is extraordinarily uncomfortable. And that uncomfortable, fearful, dreadful feeling which that being undergoes, the torture what it undergoes, will make it really experience what is birth as a condition. So its faculties or senses are not that much formed, but yet it has to do what the new parents expect it to do. Meaning to say, depending upon the place it is born, whether in India, outside India, or wherever it is, it has to do whatever is expected. Now, let us say it has taken the animal realm of existence. As soon as it comes out, it is so small and tender. If you compare the human uh, baby with a puppy or the young small cat or tiger or lion or whatever, they all look the same. Their mind is perfectly pure. They don't have any expressions to bite or to harm or to do something. And they look so innocent. So that is the state of the senses. But sooner it gets muddled up due to conditioning. So the lion will teach how to hunt, the tiger will teach its cub how to hunt, and each animal will teach how to hunt, and the human also will teach how to hunt for living. So then comes the manipulation, because that is there in the chitta already. So every animal knows how to manipulate to get the food. Human also knows how to manipulate to get the food, because it will see the parents doing it, so it will exactly do what the parents were doing. If the parent were farmer, the child knows how to do farming. If the parent were into some profession, the child knows about that profession. Like that. Same thing with animals. So, this is the torturous life we are leading moment on moment. As the breath goes away and a new breath is replaced, so is the person's life. Is reduced breath by breath, day by day, and that is what accumulates itself as year. So, in the morning, today, after this, I was supposed to do some meditation class for my Ladakh friend or partner. So 6 o'clock we started meditation session, and then I was reflecting upon this and looking at how each person undergoes this pain forever, not now, forever. And what is that dukkha we can remove from ourselves. So I was telling my wife that the moment we attach, like, she was my classmate. So if we were friends, even today, without having to attach husband and wife, it would have been far simpler because she doesn't have to do many things as a wife, and I don't have to do many things as a husband. Just like when we were going to the school together. But now things are complicated unnecessarily. So, if what we were to uncondition that and really feel as a person, instead of husband, wife, or friend, or colleague, or whatever it is, just a person who is into this samsara, not knowing what he is doing or she is doing. And it's such a dreadful thing that you are doing something, just like APJ was talking on the podium and suddenly he died. And like that, so many people would have died while speaking. So many people would have died while sleeping. And so many people would have died while sitting. So many people have died while standing. And my mother died while walking. So, what would be the state of that mind when the body is disconnected? So, how far can we believe the present state as real right now as I speak? How much do you think is real in that? As the moments are passing away, like before, say, Bhatt came, I was talking to Lata. Now that has become history. Then after Bhatt came, I was talking to both of them, and that has turned into history. So Shri Hari and Padma Shri don't know what we were talking. So for them, it is something new. For those who were existing, something old. So how much can you believe of that? And like that, every hour goes by and goes by, and evening comes, and then the night comes, and then we sleep. So then all that was done in the day is forgotten forever, without a trace. It doesn't matter, or it did not matter, what we did in the whole day, what was achieved, what was not achieved, what was thought to be achieved, what was planned to be achieved, and how it looked, how it did not look, who liked it, who did not like it, with whom did I spend time, with whom I did not spend time, how many meetings I attended. It's all erased from everybody's memory, not my memory only, from everybody's memory. Then the person goes to sleep. Then a different loka gets created. That person is helpless in that he sees so many people and so many situations, and all of that is happening without the body. And after that, that also goes away, leading him to nowhere. Only the senses and the sense objects are disconnected, the mind exists. And without the senses, the mind cannot do anything. So it is awake, but yet not able to sense anything. All the six sense doors are closed. What is the state of that existence when nobody is there? So, this is what I am reflecting from the morning. So, who is the one who is feeling the pain? Who is the one who is feeling the pleasure? There's nobody. It's just the mind which keeps on moving from one to another. So the dimensions of existence, called as realms of existence, is nothing but moving from this dimension to another dimension, based upon which the five elements will get conditioned to suit that existence. And if there is no existence, then the five elements don't have to join together, because mind itself doesn't exist. So every moment we are spending in the samsara right now, as we interact with whomever we are interacting, is out of fear. Every rupa we see, whether it is through the eyes or to the ears or to the tongue or smell, touch, and thoughts, every rupa that comes is dreadful and fearful. Why dreadful? Because you don't know what comes, which is based upon karma. And why fearful? Because we don't know where we are going with that. And once the person closes his eyes, everything is gone. Every night it happens, and then once and for all it happens at the time of death. At least for those people who are living, or so-called living, will miss that person. And such a helpless and hopeless scenario. So this is what life is. So this has been a most profound experience for me of all the years of my spiritual insight, is what I feel. I don't know what you feel, but this is what I feel right now. Any comments?
So when you reach that stage, there are no this five elements sensing. The mind is also not there, right? That's what you said.
Yes.
When the mind is not there, then what is there? Only energy.
Only consciousness, which is
Yeah,
Brahman.
only consciousness there. I agree, for yogis, yes, they will reach that stage. But for people, those who are with the samsara, still they thought their journey is not over. They would like to enjoy the samsara for some more time. For them, the mind will be there, right? Because that
Yes.
mind only goes to the another janma.
Correct. So that's what I said.
Okay, people like, for example, Abdul Kalam. See, while delivering a lecture, he just collapsed. So that is something similar to what you explained, right?
Correct.
He decided after his Rashtrapati retirement, he has to just serve the people as long as he is there. That's it. There is no other goal, I think, in his case.
Correct.
So that means he is a pakka person for that soul will get enlightenment, what you call, or
Need not be.
will it go to Brahma, this one, or it will remain in between?
No, it depends on what he was explaining in Shillong that day, and what was his state of mind. And when that death came,
Yeah.
what was stagnant, or what was rather put in hibernation there, that we don't know. From his talks, from his words, from his speeches he has given, seems like he was always in spiritual. So since we can't, at least I don't have the ability to right now to see where who is born, I could only have that experience for a brief amount of time while I went to Bodh Gaya. where I was able to see the beings going and coming. And also, I had one experience which I've shared with Lata one day while going in the cab or while coming from office near Makery Circle. I had this profound dream like a situation wherein, just like what is explained in the Vishwarupa Darshana, so I was able to see exactly the same without having uh, read the details, but still it was not an imagination or something like that. But I could see how this whole thing goes and comes and how things arrive, what happens, and all that. How the person goes through torture of existence. So that I was able to see. So the presently, after I came from Bodh Gaya, that couple of years ago when I had gone, I have never got another vision like that where I could see beings going up and to some other destination. So I can't really comment on APJ or anybody, but what I can say is that it depends on the type of mental structure the person has created. So in the case of APJ, he was not worried about religion, he was not worried about caste or creed or color or whatever it is. And he being a Muslim, he never believed that this is the only religion or that is what he used to do. He used to believe in everything. So that person who was into universality did not have an individual way of seeing things. He could have gone into the Devaloka or to some other loka which is suitable for that kind of state of mind. Or at that time, while he was speaking, if he was so much involved with something to do with work to be done for humans and all that, he might again come back as a human form. Because that being state of mind decides what body should be got. See, till human, it is the womb existence, and after human, there is no womb existence. So let's say he were to walk out as a deva, a minimum deva, a small deva, let's say, if that were to be true, like 365 days or 360 days of human is one day for a pitru. All of these devalokas are above that. So the minimum of the deva would be literally staying for at least 100 years of deva life, which will become more than 1,000. So like that it goes on and it goes into minutes. That means 100 years of a human becomes just 1 minute for one deva. And if they are going to stay for 10,000 years, and then you know how many times that being would have come back to human and gone and come back as human and gone. So we can't say, but what we can say is that he would certainly have a better life than what he was leading here.
One more question is, so far, that person was continuously interacting with the families, his own family, friends or social. The moment while walking itself, now you are collapsed, and then now chitta is moved away, and now there are no sensing of these 5 elements, but still that chitta which is departed, that chitta will have interaction with the existing jivis, relational basis, say my samsara, my society, and all that. What happens?
It will be like your dream state. Just like when you go to the dream, you have your own samsara there in the dream.
But will it be a samsara? See, is it possible that departed soul to come and see what's happening? Dream, I agree. Dream is uncontrolled. Simply it happens.
Same thing
based
here.
on some projection. But here, is it possible to come and get a feel of that? I know that 5 elements cannot be sensed. But
See,
the chitta
initially,
can sense to another chitta, right?
initially it keeps on searching
Yeah.
for that moment.
Yeah.
So generally, when that being goes away, like in the case of my mother, she was walking and she fell down and she died. Nobody hit her, nothing happened. Initial thought was she was going towards a temple. So within seconds she is within the temple, but she is not able to touch anyone. So that makes her fear that something has happened, because that being can now go anywhere it wants. It doesn't have the hindrance of the five elements for that moment. Or another possibility is, if the womb is readily available from this, immediately that would have happened. So it depends. It really depends on many factors. We can't even say that whether somebody will remain as a preta for a long period of time, or as a pitru as a long period of time, or in that 14 days what is generally done, whether the being exists there or not, because in case there would be existence also, and there would be case when there is no existence also, meaning to say it depends on what's the last chitta and the availability of the new home. If the new home is available, then immediately the bodies, it will enter into the body and over, case closed. So it will go in hibernation, and then when the senses get formed in the third or fourth month, then only it is able to realize that it is somewhere, but it is helpless. And that those chittas, just like right now as we are speaking, the chittas what we were having at 8:30 or earlier to 8:30 is no longer there. The chittas what you were having at 7 a.m. in the morning or 6 a.m. in the morning are no longer operational. They are gone. Correct? You only have a memory. You don't know what all happened, right? So that is how this also works. So this is most complicated actually.
So what do you think the relationship, say mother and son, for example, when both are alive, it is great relationship. The moment one departs,
correct,
the other person feel here very sorrow, but the departed soul, the feeling is totally different.
Yes, it will be totally different.
It's different. So there is no point in crying for that.
Absolutely. See, like
because it's a totally different now.
Yes. So coming back to my mother's death, if I were to take that, one of these many things would have happened. Let's say the womb is not available. She was heading to the temple in the morning at 5 o'clock or something, or 5:10, whatever the time was in the morning. After the body got disengaged from her, she would have immediately ran into the temple, and then she would have felt that how fast she is coming into the temple, and her sister was trailing behind. And another thing would have happened is that she would start searching for her sister, and immediately she sees her sister walking towards the temple. She wants to tell her that, look, I went to the temple so fast. And then she's seeing her own body lying there on the road, and she's helpless. Now she wants to go home, and then she would have immediately entered into the house without need for opening with key or anything like that. Now you see the scare in that person, in that being, helplessness in that person, because that was the last thought. Worst thing, it got a body. Now it is entangled with the sperm and ovum. Simple. And that's it. There ends the matter of that. And what we need to see is the helplessness. A moment ago, that person was healthy, active, able to walk. She took on a new sari. She had bought a sari which she wanted to wear on that day. So she wore a new sari and she went to the temple. And that's it. So if she was feeling that she has to meet me or something like that, the being would have come here also and tried speaking to us, trying to say what has happened with her, but nothing is possible. Just imagine the plight of that person.
But are you sure that being will not have create any impact on the living person here?
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. Now, when it would, I will tell you. When it would is that after the third day of the death, so third day becomes like minutes after her death, of that person's death, and she has lot of attachment towards whatever she was having. Now that she has a mental body and she can create a physical body which is not like our body, but there is a slight gross body created out of smelling food, and that's the reason we call it as apasavya. That is not good.
Hmm.
When we do the pitru and all that after for the 12 days or 14 days, whatever is done, that the karya. So you will have savya and apasavya. So that being is called as apasavya, and the rudra and the yama are called as savya. So now you, for the rudra, you make it as savya, and for departed soul, you make it as apasavya. So when that is being done, it gets the food. So when the food, mental body with the gross physical body. Now, when that happens, it can manifest as something called as bhuta. Bhuta means 5 elements in the basic form. Okay, now what happens? Like what happened to my brother. He was sleeping in the home, in my parents' home, because they were here for the karya after my mother's death. So they were sleeping in the bedroom, and all of a sudden he felt somebody touching him, and he was scared basically, and that being was sitting on top of him trying to do something or say something or whatever it is. That can happen. That is still a possibility, because the bhuta state can exist because of the attachment. So it also depends on which son, which daughter, or whatever that person is attached to. This is one way. Another way is that, let's say, what we call as this, you have this home, and it is, the home gets possessed. So let's say the kitchen or somewhere, the utensils fall down automatically and all that. So those things also can happen because there is bhuta. There is this subtle but yet gross amount of energy which can hold the element. So that also can happen. These two are the possibilities of a being which is not satisfied with its life, or it has died at unnatural cause, or not able to let go of its emotions of death and is feeling frustrated.
So it can take even revenge also in that case.
No, not really. It cannot do anything of that sort. It is a mental fabrication of the person who is living, because he's also a mind. It's not like that. There is no revengeful or anything like that. It doesn't even know where it is. Forget about recognizing anything. See, actually, if you have seen the ritual, what you did for your mother while I was also there, is that on the third day they will take out the stone outside, right, and they take it to the
Yes.
to the place. What it really means is that the first 3 days it can attach itself to the what I can say, the first 3 days it can attach itself to the home, and after the third day that being will go out of the home and it will reside in the place where you are doing the karya. So it cannot recognize anything after third day. Third day is fairly like 10 minutes after death, or in lesser than that, basically.
Mhm.
It is hardly any time actually. It goes so fast that that person doesn't even cannot recognize anything what is happening. So from third day to the 10th day, that stone is there, and then they completely dismantle the stone, which is nothing but that GV is now no longer having anything to do with that family or whatever it is, right? And this is there
Yeah.
in every religion, every tradition. Something of the similar kind is there. So the basic aim is that by 10th day, one day is over. One day of its death existence is over.
That means the time factor is valid to those beings also, departed souls.
Yeah. That's
But
correct.
I was thinking so far time factor is only for this Pachendriya related sensing.
No, they also have panch indriyas. No, see, the departed also has a 5 indriyas, but they don't have the gross body.
Ah.
See, just like, but what happens during deep sleep? Do you mean to say that you didn't have 5 senses?
It was there.
It was there, but it doesn't have the sensing ability right now.
So which means now even when we call devas, for devas also 5 senses plus 1, that sixth sense. There is
Mind.
nothing called seventh, right?
No, there's nothing called 7. There are only 6
Jnanam
senses.
is a sixth one and it covers everything.
No, the mind covers everything. So mind itself is one of the sense. So you have 5 plus 1, 6 senses.
Mhm.
Okay, and this sixth sense itself has something called as Atma. It has its own projection. Okay, the Chitta is consciousness, and that's what is called as Atma also. So the Paramatma, what we are calling, is something which doesn't create like this. It just stays. It just exists. So every time the death happens to the Chitta, there's no death or birth for that Paramatma, or whatever we want to call Brahman, Paramatma, consciousness, Nirvana, whatever we want to name that as.
Hmm.
It doesn't have birth nor death. That's the reason it is said Anadi, Ananta, Aprameya, and all that. That means it doesn't have anything like that. But through which only this Chitta will get its light, or it gets that consciousness. So basically, now what has happened, there are two consciousness. One which is there permanent, another one which is temporary but thinks permanent. So the Chitta is the one which thinks it is permanent, or it has its own existence. Now, just like in deep sleep, the Chittas are there, but they don't have senses to operate. Similarly, at the time of death, the senses are there, the Chittas are in similar to the deep sleep, and it goes back to the dream state. It doesn't come back to the waking state. There's nothing to waken up. So it keeps on dreaming. Simple. Till it gets another body and comes out of the womb. Then it remembers what it was doing. It's too late.
Hmm.
And this is true. This is true as an event, irrespective whether we are in the waking state or in the sleeping state or a deep sleep state. Because right now, let's say we four of us have called ourselves as colleagues or friends or whatever we want to call ourselves as. That has got nothing to do with what really is happening with you.
Hmm.
Correct? Your karma is your karma, my karma is my karma. So it's not like just because I call myself as your friend, it doesn't mean that the karma is going to change. It would be the same. There's no changes in a person's karma. So somebody is happy, it's his karma making him happy. If somebody is sad, it's this karma making him sad. It's got nothing to do with the person who's staying with him, either as a friend or as a husband or a wife or whatever it is. Even now, that is how it is happening. So in the waking state also this is happening, but we don't consider that because the so much gross the mind is that it cannot really understand the subtlety. Like what my wife is facing right now, I am not facing. She's doing other things, but I am doing something else, and I am doing this discourse, and she's not doing. So she's doing her karma, I am doing my karma, you are doing your karma. So each one is doing their own activities. Even though we seem to be staying together, but we are never together. Not even a moment we are together. It's a just an illusion created, Maya. Not that we can't touch each other or do anything like that. That is true. But within Maya only this is happening.
Yeah.
So when we go to sleep, the Maya completely disengages. So now you can't even know who you were in sleep. And since everybody sleeps, nobody asks, what did you do in sleep? Okay. So today is again another good experience. So we have brought till 9:15. So we'll start.
So this experience, how long it lasts? How much time you take to get, and it simply comes?
Yeah, it just simply came. I wanted to just go to restroom after waking up, and then it started showing me each one of these stages. So it ended at around 7:45 from 5 o'clock.
Is it? Oh, it's very long.
Yeah, very long and very profound actually.
So one question, Vilas. So somebody who is not get reach that Brahman state, but then still doing all the spiritual sadhana and all. So when they pass away, so but they would remember, they would, if the spiritual chitta is coming, they will be in meditative state.
Yes, they would be. That chitta would be meditative at that time. That is the reason why in the 8th chapter we read about two states. One wherein the person dies in Uttarayana, yogi dies in Uttarayana, and another one in Dakshinayana. So the Dakshinayana is a person who has forgotten, but he still has it. So he comes back to the existence in a different way. So that is possible. And that's how it happens actually. So there are 5 different ways of existence if we consider from a human perspective. One existence is when the person doesn't even know what is happening in the world. So he just normal person comes and goes. There is no relevance to it. And then the other 4. The other 4, the first one is a person who is trying or striving or doing something in his young life or midlife or in the end life or whatever. And because of that, he has certain chittas which are towards this, what I can say, punya. And there are certain chittas which are papa oriented. So, depending upon what comes at that point in time, even though he has done papa, he might be born in a good realm of existence because his last thought was on that. So that is the reason in most of the Brahmin community, the person dies, they keep on shouting Narayana, Narayana, Narayana in the ear, thinking that that person will somehow hear, because that's the last one to go. So that being can hear the word Narayana, and because it says Narayana, then instead of going to hell, it will go to heaven. So this is one of the belief system. So that is one way. The second one out of this four is that the person has tried striving so hard, and he becomes a yoga brashta, like what Krishna explains in the sixth chapter. So then he is born in a place from where he can continue his sadhana. That means he will be born in a this. Like if I were to consider the person who is born here as my son, environment. Mother is also like that. Father is also like that. He himself is like that. So it's good combination. So, and he doesn't have any kind of um, deprivation. So whatever he wants is there. More or less, it doesn't really matter. It's there, and his health is also good condition, and everything is good. So maybe he would have been a yoga brashta type 1, and then he is born here. Then there is a yoga brashta type 2, wherein he retains his spirituality but will be born in a very richful family where he can have his influence. So this is second, this is the third of the fourth kind. And finally, the person who has really reached a certain state will never come into womb existence again. So he will not remember to enter into womb. He will cut the womb out. So all his births will be above the womb, not inside the womb. So these are the five different kind of existence. So whatever effort we are putting today will give us something like that if we were to persistently do it till the end. And end is moment by moment of our breath. So if we can maintain that tempo and ensure that the mind stays in the same state, and that is called as samadhi. Sama plus adi. Sama is equal, adi is state. So samadhi means a state which is equanimous or same state in whichever you are in. So let's say we are now talking about spirituality for the whole day, night, whatever it is, we are, that person's mind stays in that. So that is meaning of samadhi. Sa vikalpa samadhi is the self-imagined samadhi, meaning to say that he tries to add an element of sight and sound and taste and touch and everything, five senses, and he creates that idealization, and then he creates that being in the mind, and which reflects itself as the person once he is in that state. So that is sa vikalpa samadhi, and nir vikalpa samadhi is that there is no imagination at all. There is nothing to imagine. It's pure reality. Or saguna brahman, nirguna brahman is the same thing of savikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi. So basically, whichever state the mind is in, if we can continue in the same state, and that is called as samadhi. So depends on what is our samadhi right now. Right now, as we are speaking, as we are interacting, our samadhi is good. It's taking you to a better existence, both in the heart and the mind. You can feel, meaning in your head you can feel lightness, and in the heart you can feel expansion. But after 1.5 hours, it might not so be the case. Or after 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, it might not be the case. Because now the mind is pulled into other activities and it cannot stay in that samadhi. So in that is also samadhi, but that is on the lokiya samadhi. That means the person will be getting whatever good or bad deeds he is doing in that state. So that's again a samadhi, but cannot be called as something fruitful, because in that there is no sama adi, it keeps on changing. So it's literally restless state of mind. Whereas if a person were to be like what we are talking right now, then this is good samadhi, because for that time no bad thoughts will come, so no immoral deeds are being done, mind has retained its purity. So if the breath were to stop right now and not continue at all, so the next life will be better one. So that is the minimum thing we can do with our life, knowing this. Did I answer you, Lata?
Yeah, yeah. Yes. I think we have discussed this topic many times.
Yeah, we have discussed
So,
it, but it's good to discuss again and again so that the mind keeps that.
yeah, so many places I have read that there are some places where you can learn things. There are some beings who will choose certain things and so on and so forth.
Yes, that is
So I don't
correct.
know whether that's true.
No, that is true, Lata. Even now, as I speak, there would be beings who will be influencing. So all that is there. Bad things being influenced, good things also being influenced. Now, what is this being? Is that is another mind which will try to influence you. Because ultimately everything
Hmm.
is chitta. Like even in the office, right? When you are doing something, somebody will
Yeah,
influence you, right? Only thing we are agreeing to that person because he has a gross body, but otherwise it's just a mind. Gross body is just a body. It is just a frame. It is just an inert object. There is no person.
yeah, and also these beings will also help you decide which kind of life you should choose and things like that. I have
Yes,
read.
yes, that is also true because based upon the problems they have undergone, they will try to influence you, or based upon the your state of mind, they will try to influence either positively or negatively.
And then you sometimes you will be shown different lives, and they'll ask you to choose one, and
Yes,
so on. So all that I have read, and then I also have seen that whoever is much more advanced in spiritual, they'll be given priority to get the body, but all the others will be waiting for more time.
it is said like that, but at some cases also true. See, there are two people who get the body immediately. One is who is a sinner, and one who is a saint. The
Mm.
remaining have to wait. Sinner will get immediately.
Mm.
The more the sin, the better it is. You get the body immediately. Because cutting the human life is most easy in a sinner.
Mm.
Meaning human existence is easy to cut because it is such a rarity to get a human life.
Mm.
Whereas getting an animal life is the most easiest. You don't have to do anything. Just continue whatever you are doing. So the body is made ready immediately. And that's the reason Lata is after eons of being an animal, if some mind were to become a human, it will still retain the identity of an animal. You could see in many people who behave like cat and dog, and they adore and they cannot stay away from these pets, and so many different. And not only that, they have weird thinking, unlike any human. Like they can shout and they can howl, they can go crazy, they can do 100 different things. Either they will have a demonic qualities if they have come from a demonic existence to human realm of existence, or from animal to human. Because in this new existence they have to what I can say, adjust to that environment. It takes time, by which time the person's age is gone. So it will take many births for that person to become a human. So we then say that I doubt whether as a human being, I think we would have used this word quite often, that how come he is a human? He doesn't have a heart or something like that, right? So that's because the person has either stayed in the demonic existences, or he is promoted from an animal existence to here, or even a hell existence into this human existence. That would be that person's state of mind. Simple. So now we can actually assess with all of us, are we godly, are we demonic, are we animalistic, are we human? That's if we take these four, and five of us sitting here can assess each other. Don't have to assess anything else. This much assessment we can do for ourselves, and you'll come to know. And we can do that with others also, other colleagues, friends, family members. So definitely it is easy to find out who is in what. I mean, we don't have to go and tell them that, look, you look like demonic, and you look like godly and all that. But you can see the characteristics of that mind. The problem, or rather the illusion here, is that mind is replaced by body. So what happens is we start categorizing the body by color or by structure or by height and weight and whatever, and then call that person, because we can't see the mind. So we identify the person by the body, but actually we should identify the person by the trait what he has in the mind. What are his or her traits? Meaning instincts. What we call as instinct is the person, exactly the person what he is made up of. So let's say somebody is involved with current affairs and worldly affairs and acquisition, this, that, what we call as materialistic way of living, meaning comfortable, making oneself comfortable, let's say. So what is the need for him to become comfortable? Because he was uncomfortable earlier. So he wants comfortable. Now that doesn't mean that one shouldn't make oneself comfortable. He or she should make oneself comfortable. But there are people who will go to the extreme of making things comfortable. So then you know what kind of life that person is leading. We'll call that person as aristocratic or this or that. But the person, if you remove and put his mind and just watch the mind, what it is trying to do. It was in a different realm of existence earlier. It is trying to make itself suitable to that realm of existence. Simple. Instead of branding somebody as aristocratic or indulgent or whatever it is, you can just look at the mind and we'll come to know that this poor being is trying to make whatever the state he was in earlier in this life. If the mind is trying to do the same, exactly the same. So in that case, it fears of losing. So that person becomes very miser. He doesn't want to give anything to anyone because he believes that if he gives, he will lose it. Right? So like that we can keep on seeing. So while due to the punya he has, or merits what he has got, or she has got richness, but due to the inherent fear of losing it, which meaning to say that that mind existed in a fearful state some time ago, and it doesn't want to let go of what has been got, because it knows that it has got out of so much of struggle. So now in that case, do you feel, don't we feel compassionate toward that person? Definitely. If somebody is shouting, or let us say howling, or making ruckus or something like that, let's say, to see the state of the mind of the person. The state of the mind is of an animal. So immediately we can see that. And we can see animals howl at each other. Because there is fear. There's anxiety, fear, which is happening. The dissolution is happening faster in animal. So now when he is born as a human, he still has the dissolution fear of losing something. So that person gets terribly upset and angry. Or even if he is from a hell realm of existence, he would feel the same. Heat. So you can see the person is heated up unnecessarily. So in that fit of rage, he can do anything. He or she can do anything. They can kill themselves. They can kill somebody. They can do so many things because that trait is there. So if we were to see, we can observe and create a compassion over that person, because there's no way to teach him that he's a human right now. He's still in that hellish realm of existence, meaning he in the sense that that mind is in the hellish realm of existence. It is imagining hell while he's sitting here in its home or wherever it is staying, home or office or road or whatever it is. The fit of rage which comes exactly depicts where the person is. So we can see it. This much we can see in every person. And then,
Vilas,
yeah,
Vilas, a quick question. So, how about this? The Janma Lagnas, like the nakshatras in which the people are born and then they are categorized into ganas. Devagana. So, what is the significance of that with respect to this? Is there any relevance to that?
Yeah, there is a relevance. There is a relevance, and that is how it has been defined. So, you have a Deva Gana, you have a Manusha Gana, you have the Asura Gana. And the ganas are nothing but at which realm of existence this person has been staying, and then like which home this person is from. Let us say I am from Asura, it means that I have a demonic qualities. If I have Manusha Gana, I have the quality of Sukha and Dukkha, both Sama, in that state, meaning to say that I can't go anything further than being a Manushya at this point in time. And Devagana is the person who had remained a Deva in some life and now he is come into the human realm of existence. That's what it really means, Srihari.
Yeah, so you mean to say that some nakshatra, whatever you are born.
Yes.
So that also signifies you would have been in Manusha or Asura or something before?
Yes.
Okay, so then some nakshatras are Deva Gana and some nakshatras is Asura Gana and some are Manusha Gana.
Yes. I mean, they treat it like that, but actually it is not based upon the nakshatra. It is based upon the Gana. Gana means the, like we have this Ganesha, right? So Gana means the, I don't know how to explain that in English. The characteristics of that being in which it has resided for the maximum amount of time.